Hey guys, Derek here. So I decided to do the Atlanta Hawks as my Affinity Space video because whenever I was in my undergrad and I did one of these, I went with the Atlanta Hawks as well. So I really wanted to pay respect to that very first Affinity Space video I did that got me really interested in this kind of stuff. So looking at the Lemire's, Kerwood, and Magnifico kind of steps to Affinity Space, we're just going to walk through each space through here. So as we think about what the common endeavor is, with the Atlanta Hawks, the common endeavor is the actual team. Um, we the fandom watches the team. They follow the team on Twitter. Depending on how social you want to be with the team, there's a variety of events you can go to and all of that. But we're really going to focus not necessarily on the team itself, but the fandom that surrounds the team. So whenever we're thinking about the actual participation of this, um, you can have as much, as you want because you can go to the games, you can sit in your seat and you can cheer for the Hawks and not talk to anybody, just the people around you, or you could stay home and watch the games on the television and not really, get anything out of that minus just watching the game and calling it a night. But if you really wanted to gain, more access and you want to participate more, um, you can go into, you can get tickets for the where the fandom and the Kia fan zones sit. You can go into and talk about, you can go into the Twitter and look at the different things that the Atlanta, the Hawks are posting. You can go into the actual Atlanta Hawks fan zone on the NBA, and you can get the desktop wallpaper, and you can just research yourself. And really, whenever you are thinking about creating this public content for the affinity space, Twitter is one place to put your content at because anyone can write a blog and anyone can think about this, this fandom and comment on the fandom in just 140 characters. So that's adding ideas, adding content. So not only can you, add it through that, and you can also go to their Facebook page and add even more content on the Facebook page. But as we really think about the Atlanta Hawks as an affinity space, all of these ideas, all of the different portals that you can enter in, you can make the videos, you can make fan created videos, you can make fan created ads. If you don't share them and you don't socialize on with them, then there's no real reason to create these videos. You have to disperse this knowledge that you have about the Atlanta Hawks because that's what's really getting into that socialization role. That's what's getting into, um, looking at portals as a documentation, as a generator over a just a consumer. Um, so if we think about that, and then which kind of leads us into the leadership roles, the the creators of the official site, the creators of the Twitter, the bloggers, the beat writers are leaders within the space, but that doesn't mean they are the only leaders. Leadership here is a little more defined than leadership in other spaces, but a leader could be someone who knows a lot about the Hawks. People could, you could look as a leader for someone who can rattle off Jeff Teague's statistics from last night. Or a leader could be someone who creates fan created videos, or knows, the history of the Hawks, know what year Dominique won the slam dunk competition and could rattle off his stats, or the independent bloggers, not from ESPN or NBA or anything like that, that are just doing it for the passion of the Hawks. Um, so leadership roles are, again, they're more defined, but they are also, they are flexible in the fact, if you look at leadership being that generator and that leader of content, that's not coming down from a really a paid person. Because again, the Atlanta Hawks, the leaders of the team are obviously the team, but you have to look beyond that team and into the leaders outside of the court. Uh, and whenever we're thinking about documenting and cataloging practices, um, if you just scroll down on um, Facebook here, you have all of these documented from last night's Utah Jazz game. If you keep going down, you'll see against the Knicks from the Garden the other night. You keep going down, you see the Knicks from the Knicks games from the Phillips Arena, and all of this, again, this is their official Facebook page. But all of this is documenting and cataloging what's going on. You can go back years and years and years and years on the Hawks, and it's cataloging that content. It's cataloging those practices. Thinking about, even as a fandom, whenever I did my first affinity space on the Hawks, there was something called NTTH. Never trust the Hawks. Because eventually, and thinking about the practice of documenting content, every time the Hawks make it to the playoffs, they are going to lose. They'll make it out of the first round, they'll go into the second round, and then they'll lose. So that's the kind of ideas of, you can't ever trust the Hawks to win when they're supposed to win, or even lose when they're supposed to lose. Um, so thinking about that idea and thinking about these ideas of socialization and the passionate public audience, we have to, in our classrooms, we have to really think about how we are pursuing these spaces. Because like the Atlanta Hawks and like the the fandoms around the Atlanta Hawks, unfortunately, some of the leadership is going to be, on us as the teachers. But it's that idea of allowing students to move beyond that. The teacher is the leader, the teacher is the gatekeeper, and into more of a, you know, multimodal, defined, or not defined, undefined role of them now creating content for your course, over the teacher or over me giving them the content. They're now creating that content. They're now looking at, instead of me giving them something to annotate and then them turning in their annotations and the annotations just being for them, it's more they're creating annotations for a group. They're creating annotations for a whole, the whole class to see and to talk about and to move forward with as a fandom. So the class, becomes that fandom of literature without making it an actual, quote unquote fandom. Uh, so whenever we do these kind of ideas in our classrooms, we really need to start thinking about how can we make our portals multimodal. Not, maybe we don't use Facebook and we use Twitter, but how can we have our students move into, in and out of literature, in a multimodal form? Can they, go into and research a part of the text that they're interested in, or can they, physically build or hold on to something that they're for that piece of literature, or can they go outside of the classroom and see something that would build upon that literature? it's making our classrooms just, more dynamic, more multifaceted, than just sitting there reading the book, doing the worksheet, doing the questions outside of the book, and into this, self-directedness that we see with the Atlanta Hawks. Because if the only way to participate with the Atlanta Hawks were to sit down and watch them on TV, that would not gain the passion that the fans have. You have to, and as teachers, we have to somehow harness this passion that the students, could have about our content area, and harness that and let them run with it. We can't just sit there and let them, be stagnant in our, what we call great teaching, quote unquote, if we're just sitting there lecturing all day long, or reading this book and doing a worksheet. Um, so thank you, and go Hawks.